Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Strictly Business Unscripted. I'm your host, Keandra Jones, and I'm here to provide the ultimate networking hub and exclusive peek into the lives of thriving entrepreneurs and business owners. This podcast will educate, ignite inspiration, foster encouragement, and pave the way for growth among small businesses and the overall Oak Cliff community. Today is a very special show as we'll introduce you to yet another executive committee member of the Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce. But first, we'd like to thank our sponsors, Breakfast Brothers, Dallas Zoo, Serve Pro, and Home Care Network. We appreciate your support. Now, again, we've got a fantastic show. It is themed Get to Know Your Oak Cliff Chamber of Commerce Executive Committee. So today we have an amazing guest. We have got the Honorable Council Member Zarin Gracey. Welcome to today's show.
Thank you so much. That still gets weird hearing that.
Why is that weird?
Because, you know, it's a goal you set out to do, and it's something that happened way sooner than I anticipated.
Really?
It is. I was expected to retire from the city of Dallas and then move into that space. So, you know, when God moves you, your timing is just that. So it's just, I'm here. Mm-hmm. I'm here, and it gets weird sometimes.
And we're happy to have you.
I'm happy to be here, really.
We needed you here in this Oak Cliff community, but I'm going to ask you all of those questions in a second.
Okay, all right.
So we're going to start. So again, this is Strictly Business Unscripted. I don't know what I'm going to ask until I open my mouth.
Well, let's go. I don't know what I'm going to say most of the time. Almost daily.
Well,
no, stop.
Same here. You know, that's why I end up with my foot in my mouth a lot of times, you know. Okay. So we're going to just start with the basics, okay?
All right.
So you have been an Oak Cliff resident for a long, long time. You've been around this
10 years,
city.
yeah.
How long?
Almost 10, well, 12, actually. Almost
12
years, I think so, yeah.
Here in Oak Cliff? See, that's amazing. You know, in a place where people act like they're scared to come.
Yep.
But we're not going to talk about that part.
Because that'll be a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother show. So, and you've been in and around other nonprofits and chambers of commerce.
Yes.
So I'd like to kick the show off with our executive committee by asking, why would you choose to be so active in this chamber? Since you've seen all the others, and I'm not saying that you aren't as active otherwise.
Sure.
But why would you choose to serve here?
You know, the thing about the Oak Cliff Chamber that I think, you know, I appreciate is in the name. Oak Cliff. For Dallas and all these things, and again, not try to make this too controversial, but with everything that seems to be being thrown at Southern Dallas, Oak Cliff almost seems like the last stance for Southern Dallas in terms of what it is we're trying to accomplish and what it is we've been demanding in terms of housing, in terms of business and economic development and all of those things. So Oak Cliff this chamber represents Oak Cliff and all that comes with that, whether that's the education, the transportation, the public policy, all of these different committees, it represents Oak Cliff. So it's just a little bit different than as opposed to the Black Chamber, which I'm proud to be a board member of, and the Hispanic Chamber, which I've worked for in all of those, and even the Dallas Regional Chamber. There's just something about Oak Cliff.
Yes.
And this is the thing that this is our home. This is our culture. This is our character. This is our community. And Oak Cliff Chamber is in position to ensure that not only are we representing Oak Cliff, but we're bringing those amenities and those things that Southern Dallas deserves.
You know, I hear a going theme as we're doing these interviews or conversations. There is a common theme, and it is there's so much pride. There's so much Oak Cliff pride. And I've gotten to the point that I'll fight people over Oak Cliff.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm not the only one. And I hear that when you're talking about our Oak Cliff, right? You better be careful how you talk about our Oak Cliff.
Right.
And I think that those kinds of attitudes are what it takes to make sure we protect and develop our Oak Cliff.
And listen, and I don't want to pretend like I grew up here and I've been here my whole life, but again, serving this community for as long as I have, you know, serving at Concord Church and listening and talking to people and just being newly elected and actually listening to people even before on the campaign trail and really hearing what they're saying, not just listening, but hearing. And like you said, it's that common theme, and that common theme is This is Oak Cliff. These people been here. People been in their homes more than 50 years, 30 years. That's not uncommon.
That's right.
On any block.
That's right.
So this is their home and this is their community, and I've identified it. I've received it and empathetic to it, and want to defend it, because that's the right thing to do. And again, I'm 10, 12, 15 years, how long I've been here compared to 30, 40, 50 years. These folks have been here and they've seen kind of what happens and what has not happened in this area. And you can't help but to want to defend and protect those things. And as politicians and elected officials, that's what we're called to do.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So let's transition a little bit.
Sure.
You're newly elected.
Yes.
But you've been with the city. You were with the city for how long prior to?
16 years.
16 years. Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about that. What were you doing as a staff member of the city of Dallas?
Everything. I had a goal. Again, all of this is happening faster than I want. My plan was to become CFO. So in order to do that, I wanted to work in every department that the CFO had responsibility, oversight over. Okay. So that's what I did. I worked in the controller's office. I worked in budget office, economic development, procurement. I feel like I missed one. Oh, and I ran the Office of Business Diversity. that got me into serving small and minority women-owned businesses from there. And that was just part of my goal, was to become CFO. And then, of course, things happen, and here I am today. But I think all of that has helped bring a nice balance to the horseshoe in terms of how to, one, have a perspective from city employees' perspective in terms of why things can happen and why they can't happen, but also have a perspective and appreciation from my colleagues to understand kind of where they want to go and kind of serve as a translator to kind of help us get there, hopefully. And then just all the service in the community. I think that's just another layer that I can bring that I brought to the table and help in terms of how we serve and how we serve the city.
So let's hit reverse for a little bit and let's talk about that service. Yeah. Okay, so maybe 3-ish years ago, you were probably deciding whether you were going to run for this. Or you tell me, how long ago were you making decisions as to if you were going to run for this District 3 seat, this council seat? How long ago was it?
All these days are running together.
Yeah, I understand that.
Let's see. I left the city. This is a long... Ooh, man. Okay. All right. So... I left the city, and when I left the city, I was extremely tired and burnt out.
Sure.
I at one point, I believed I was called, not at one point, I still do, believe I was called to public service. That was my purpose in life. That was my finding and everything, and I believe that, and still do. But at that point, maybe, 3-4 years ago, I guess I left in I can't even remember. It's right after COVID or right during COVID. But I left, and because I was burnt out, and I was just tired. It seemed like it was just becoming so hard to do the right thing inside of City Hall because of the politics, and then I just got really frustrated, and got a phone call and got an opportunity to go and serve at Concord, and I was like, okay, God, well, thank you. You made a way, a ram in the bush, and all of that. And little did I know that was just a preparation time for me to get back into public service. God recognized I was tired. Yeah. Gave me an opportunity to take a break from public service and was like, all right, now get back in the game. And this all happened. So I think the evolution of kind of sitting in this seat was probably about a 3 or 4 year transition between myself, God, my family, and then former council member Casey Thomas having those conversations, and the timing of it was like, okay, here we are, and prayed about it, and here I am, and I now today believe that I am truly where I'm supposed to be, and it's funny how God works and how things work in your life.
So I remember, Casey Thomas, former council member Thomas, and I, as you know, are really good friends, and I remember when he first said, listen, I've got to tell you something. I think that I'm going to endorse Zarin for this seat. And I said, Zarin Gracey? Oh my God, that would be phenomenal, because
Wow.
I had worked with you at the
Yeah.
city of Dallas, and I just never really thought about, you being the council member.
Yeah.
And when he said it, I was like, that is the greatest idea I've ever heard in my life.
Well, I appreciate that. I agree.
What is a great idea? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So when you were contemplating even running, what was the thing, the decision, or the thing that made you make the decision to run for this seat? Was it Aaron saying, okay, baby, I got your back? Or what was it? What was that thing?
We went through a series of things. First, it was a personal. Okay, is this really the thing? So one, it was that confirmation. And again, you never know for sure, but that was that. It was the personal confirmation. Then it was the conversation with the wife, and it was like, this was going to change some things for us. Obviously, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do both. Obviously, I wasn't able to do both jobs from there, so it changes things. So making sure that I had her support through this, making sure my boys, and as best they could, understand what this meant for them and the impact. And actually, my wife and I, we went to therapy just to make sure that even before we did this, could our marriage hold up? And that was the thing that I really wanted to, because on the other side of this, I wanted to make sure that my family is intact. Politics, people are fickle. But on the other side of this, I needed my life support, my family to be with me through this and on the other side of it. So really, once we were able to kind of get through that part of it and make sure it was okay, I got God's permission, got my wife's comfort level and security level where it needed to be, and we jumped in and gave the rest to God, and got some wonderful people around me to kind of help get us in position, and we were a success, and I'm grateful for it, and will continue to serve in this role with that same level of gratefulness.
So, as much of a fan of yours that I am, I just became even that much more of a
Thank you.
fan.
Appreciate
I
it.
really did, because, Zarin, so I've been doing this for 17 years, and I've seen a lot of, unfortunately, families be impacted by the stress of these roles. And I'm not excluded from that. It takes a toll on your family, and the fact that you and your family were willing to do what it took to prepare for it speaks volumes. I think that is huge. So we're here with Council Member Zarin Gracey. We're going to take a quick break and hear from our sponsors, but we'll be back in just a few moments. And we're back with the Honorable Zarin Gracey. He has given us so much information about his service and why he serves, but we've got more for him. So are you ready for the next
ready.
round?
Let's go.
Okay, so you're working on a number of things right now.
Yes.
So when you got into office, you hit the ground running. Talk to me about retail renaissance. What is that?
Yes, the retail renaissance. This is something that was really birthed through, again, listening, right? And you're hearing, listening, and observing. Every Friday, I use my Friday mornings. I ride around the district, and just look. I'll put in some service requests and just imagine what could be, and listening and recalling conversations we've had with constituents and seeing what could be. So this retail renaissance is really an opportunity to do just that, is to create a retail renaissance in Oak Cliff. And it's that, and it really has 3 layers to it. There's one layer with the approved bond program. The bond program is just approved. Thank you all very much. I appreciate that. But with that bond program included in there for me was $1 million in district-specific funds in economic development. And one of the things I wanted to do is, when you drive around, you look at our shopping centers. One of the ways, and it's so simple, it's really kind of basic, but again, if you can fix up our shopping centers, make them look a little bit nicer,
Right.
then perhaps that'll inspire somebody to want to turn left or right and discover the beautiful neighborhoods that we have. So that's one. So this $1 million will be identified to really help identify a shopping center in an area in District 3 that maybe, 40 to 50% occupied, but could really use some money to help fix it up. We'll use that to kind of fix up the area. Then at the same time, we have another $500,000 in ARPA dollars that we're going to use to assist small businesses. Those businesses looking to relocate to District 3, looking to expand into District 3, or open up a business in District 3. We have some money set aside to walk them through, to get them the technical assistance, to kind of help set them up to go through the process to get in position to expand their business. And then the one I'm most excited about, well, equally excited about, I love all my babies, but this one especially because of the relationship, as we just talked about, is there's $200,000 that we're setting aside for a food truck program that happens to be with the Oak Cliff Chamber. And it's one, again, to drive this retail and this renaissance, to really give everybody a chance with this food truck program. It's an opportunity for folks to expand. You think about how to scale up. Maybe you start in a food truck. Oak Cliff Chamber has a wonderful food truck that can serve as an incubator for a lot of businesses to come through, try their concepts out. And if they work, now we can put them in a pipeline to get them the resources to get their own truck and expand from that perspective. But also it aligns with the taste of Oak Cliff and bringing those flavors and those foods of Oak Cliff to different areas. So we're looking forward to having pop-up spots in different parts of District 3 in Oak Cliff as well. So it's just another opportunity to really begin highlighting what we all know.
Yeah.
I think I saw something on Zillow once. It's the best kept secret. Well, it's really not. Y'all just don't come through.
Absolutely.
So this is another opportunity to highlight kind of the food that Oak Cliff has to offer and create those opportunities, because there's so many people that have these wonderful concepts. So to have this food truck incubator program is something that creates another opportunity for people to make their food known. We just had the Breakfast Brothers here, and he talked about his journey. This is another way for people to create that next Breakfast Brothers. So this is awesome. So we're excited about it. I feel like I'm missing one. Oh, and then I have 100,000. I'm still working on this one. This was a little bit premature, but 100,000 working on neighborhood beautification projects. So if neighborhoods are looking to create entryways to their neighborhoods, again, this is all meant to highlight what we already know. Oak Cliff is not a secret. It's not the best kept secret. We all been knowing that. And now it's time to really let people know that we have those things. We have the retail. We have the economics. We have the homes. We have the beautiful. In District 3, we have the parks. We have all of these things to offer. And these perceptions that people keep placing on Oak Cliff and Southern Dallas is, at this point, is just foolish and annoying at this point. So, again, you talk about why Oak Cliff. I'm circling back. It's because Oak Cliff has that responsibility to let these people know, who Oak Cliff is, what Oak Cliff is, where it is, and what we have to offer. And we know it, and it's time to really put that on the map and start demanding what we've been asking for from some of these developers. So this is a movement. It's bigger than just, a program. This is a movement that says that Oak Cliff, we're here, and we're tired of accepting your answers.
Absolutely. So, Zarin, I love the fact that you said this is a movement. There is something about that word that is so powerful. And it is a movement. It is unfortunate that we're still having to prove ourselves to the rest of the world, because Oak Cliff is where it is. I don't want to be anywhere else. And a lot of my friends from the other places in this world that, I invite them here. Like, I don't go... I'm not going to Frisco or North Dallas or all that. No, you come to Oak Cliff because I need you to see how amazing it is. And without fail, it's now the Oak Cliff but it's like, I didn't know that it was like this in Oak Cliff. Well, that's why we don't leave. We stay in our bubble. So I love this movement, and I'm so excited, especially about the Small Business Incubator.
Yes.
So, with regards to the $500,000 that you're setting aside to attract other businesses here, can you give me some examples of the types of businesses that you would like to attract in District 3?
Yeah, obviously it's a retail renaissance. So those things that we're talking about, we want those restaurants and those things. And again, talking to people and you hear it, and it's like, in some cases, we actually do have those restaurants. We have them, but again, what y'all doing with the Taste of Oak Cliff is letting people know they're actually here.
Yeah.
But this is now an opportunity. So we want to bring those businesses in, the retail, those restaurants. And again, you think about those businesses that have been in the neighborhoods for years and for whatever reason now have to close their doors. We're saying Oak Cliff is open. And this is a place where you can come as a small business owner and the community will appreciate your business probably more so than gonna get judged me for my food choices, but Applebee's. Me and my boys like Applebee's. So whatever. Whatever. My wife judges us, but that's all right. We love us some Applebee's and we gonna go out there.
You're forgiven.
But the point is I think the community, Oak Cliff, this Taste of Oak Cliff says that we appreciate those restaurants, those hidden gems, even more so than chains. We appreciate the chains, but that's the character of Oak Cliff says we take care of our own and we appreciate our own. So a lot of that centers around those. Then the other ones centered around, which industries, in construction, obviously there are going to be some opportunities there. There isn't really a limit in terms of the type of businesses. We're focusing on retail, but if you have a construction business, if you have a sign business, whatever it is, there's opportunity here. There isn't a limit on that. We just want to know that you're committed to Oak Cliff and you're committed to District 3.
Okay. So you mentioned your boys. How have they adjusted to you now being a local celebrity, and do they treat you differently?
They don't care. I got 2 teenage boys, essentially. They don't care. Their expectation and their demand doesn't change. They don't care.
Okay.
They don't care.
That's fair.
They don't care.
That is so fair.
Let me see. Let me be honest. Let me see. My oldest boy, my youngest one, doesn't care. To an extent, he thinks it's cool. My oldest one, I think he's starting to kind of get it, from there. And I've seen a couple of ways, but I think he flexing a little bit.
Oh.
So so he gets it for the wrong reason. So
do you know who my daddy is?
No, it's another. He's a teenager now, so we having these conversations. We going through our summer summer boot camp now.
Okay.
They are all in transition right now, so they are teenagers. So
I can only imagine. I can just only imagine.
But they don't care. They understand. They do appreciate that schedule. Sometimes getting complicated. From there, that we are going through this concept again. They both have these phones, and this the frustration of you're on this phone all day and yet you don't know how to use the calendar. Can you please put your stuff on the calendar? So we're going through that type of thing to make sure, because again, the schedules get busy. Yeah. And I live by this calendar, and I need them to make sure that they're updating the calendar so we can, so I can be there for them and essentially, because I that weight carries with me as well, right? Yeah. You can sometimes feel selfish that you're pursuing your dream. Yeah. And your dream can sometimes cost you being present.
So that was my next question, and you went right into it. Like, how are you dealing with the transition of it all? How are you balancing?
We and our boys this summer, we are going through like I said, it's trying to get them to use the phones, use the technology. Yeah. You can do stuff besides just put on screen time and look at the ceiling, let your friends look at the ceiling while y'all play video games. So it's use the calendar. Yeah. So we're getting to a point where we're getting them in the habit of putting things on their calendars. And again, it's an opportunity for them to get into a habit of keeping their lives organized, but also helping us keep our lives organized. Because again, the worst feeling of all for me in being in this role, the worst feeling is when I'm going to a city function and I forget that my kids have a function.
Yeah.
And it's because they didn't put it on the calendar. So now I'm mad at them.
Yeah.
And I'm mad at myself. And I'm mad. It's just all of that. So it's just that part right there is helping them keep us organized. My wife has been doing a really good job too, but just really trying to teach them some responsibility as well, and making sure we're operating as a unit. So that's been a challenge, and by the end of this summer, we're going to have that fixed. I promise you.
I understand. I understand. I understand.
Or we won't have phones. So.
Oh, goodness. Uh-oh. Well, I have, this is probably my final question, maybe. But there are 15 of you sitting around that horseshoe, including the mayor, and you guys don't always agree. And I think that's an understatement. But you are so cool, calm, and collected most of the time. How do you deal with, how do you maintain that without being overly emotional when there are things that you're really passionate about?
In this environment, I don't care whether it's local, state, county, federal. There are so many opportunities for divisiveness that we ought to just all be tired. I mean, tired. Like I am. And it's just that. It's, again, people confuse, like, being open-minded and listening and having an open ear. Those type of things are the tools that I think have slipped away because somehow we're also angry now. And I'm reading this book, and I can't remember. It's something that the Kingdom of Rage is what it's called. I can't remember the author, but she posed this question. Think about where we were, how close this country was during 9/11, and how just it wasn't even that long ago. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, but where we were then compared to where this country is now.
Wow.
And how that divisiveness, what in the hell happened? So thinking about that in perspective, again, we were here. Right. And to have a country that's so divided in so many different areas with a, and we can so easily be divided on anything now that I think we're losing that art of just listening and trying to understand.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I don't have to agree with you, but I do want to understand, and I want to show you that I'm understanding.
Right.
And I think we've missed that. I had a guy on social media. He go after me. It's not an unusual comment, but just made a comment about my affiliation with the church and homosexual, same-sex marriages and things like that. And it was my response to him was, "Let's meet. Love to. If you get to know me, you'll see that that's not who I am in my relationship. It's about relationship kind of thing." But it was rejected. Yet. So we don't even have a desire to want to even come together and talk anymore. That's how divided this place is. So somebody has to, I'm not saying I'm the only one or anything, and I do get frustrated from there, but I think we owe it to each other. We owe it to the city to learn to listen to each other. And I think we're getting there. I think we are. And sometimes it's hard.
What an amazing perspective, Zarin, and you're just such an...
Ask me in a year or two, my next term, we'll see what happens. But now...
I'm going to keep asking you.
This is what I believe in my heart of hearts. I really do. I think it's time out for all this divisiveness and this blind loyalty and things like that. It's just so many things that can divide us. And it's almost like we want to be. And there's more to come. I mean, yesterday's decision. I mean, there's so many landmines that are out there. If we don't learn to listen, it only hurts what we're trying to accomplish in this city together.
Collectively, Sorry. Zarin, no. I love it. And the thing is, the people that are watching can't feel how humble you are. I'm an energy girl. And just to feel your humility and your genuine humble spirit is just amazing.
Thank you.
So I think that we've been told that our time is up, but I just want to say thank you so much for being
Thank
here.
you for having me. I didn't mean to make this sound serious. I wanted to be a little bit more, I think I laughed a little bit.
No. I mean, it is whatever it becomes,
yes,
right?
this was good.
Whatever it becomes. And I'm just grateful for you. I'm grateful that you are serving 1/4 of this Oak Cliff community.
Yeah.
You're representing us and
Yeah.
representing us well.
Thank you.
We are super proud of you. I
Proud of
mean,
the work that y'all are doing with Leadership Dallas, Taste of Oak Cliff, everything that's happening with all of the programming and things that's happening. I'm proud to be a part of this organization.
Thank you so much. Well, we have gotten to know just a little bit about our very own Councilman Zarin Gracey. He's shared a few things about what's to come, the retail renaissance and other things. But thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of Strictly Business Unscripted. Again, I'm your host, Keandra Jones, and we'll see you next time.
Take care.